women too, when they want something from the woman, especially sex. They'll make her feel good or they'll make her angry. And the woman's gonna have the sex. You don't want to be angry. You want to speak up. You want to disagree with what's going on. It's wrong, but do not be angry. Then you won't have fear. You won't have doubt. You won't have worries. You'll be able to see, but you gotta stay away from anger. That's why you must forgive your mothers and your fathers so that you can overcome the spirit of anger. It's a spirit and it's wicked. Nothing good in anger because it has no love, folks. You need love to defeat evil. And love is not a weakness. It's a strength. It's from God. It's His nature. You can't run from evil within yourself or outside of self. You got to deal with it. And you need good in order to deal with evil. And God is good. You need to return to the Father. And you'll see within you, He will fight the battle for you. And He will fight it without, because He will show you how to deal with it. And you will have no fear. Love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your might, along with nothing else. Nothing else means yourself, your children, your wife, your things, your ego, your reputation, and all that. You can't care about any of that. The children of anger will use it to control you. But if you love God, He will renew your mind, and none of those things will be before Him. And so when they go after you, oh, well, you may take my body, you may take my things, but you're not going to take my soul. And that's a true reality.
You know, I'm 32 years old now, and I've been clinically depressed since I was 17 years old. And ever since I started listening to you a couple of months ago, bro, I don't even need to hear the word depression. I don't even care about that because that's not anything that I identify with anymore.
Nice.
I'm 100% cured. I'm 100% better because I've been listening to the Jesse Lee Peterson show, and I can't even begin to tell you how much I appreciate you. And I just can't even, begin to tell you how much I really appreciate the things that you're doing for young men. Young men need to hear this, and young men need to know this message that you're delivering because it's important. It's vital to their lives, Jesse. I just wanted to let you know that, man.
That's amazing. I mean, you made my day, man. When I hear one soul has returned to the Father, it's like 1,000. It's better than silver and gold. So God bless you, man. Isn't Nick a Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home. That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. He's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room,
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border, and then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on American soil. So he became the anchor baby. They don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. Thanks for tuning in. I think I do that every time. You should probably be aware of that. Moving the mic when I open up. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the show. I'm the American Anchor Baby. We got a nice show for you today, and it's a pleasure to be back on this fine Thursday. What a fine Thursday on the network. And yeah, I got a bit of a show for you. We getting into these protests, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Honestly, I got a bunch of things here, so let's just take our time here. But we'll be getting into kicking off with the protests here. Okay, I do want to mention them. At that university, Columbia, right? Ongoing thing, and I personally think in my America, how I would handle it, I honestly wouldn't have them here. So, foreign political agitators, I honestly think it's totally fine. We get rid of them. We'll be getting into a number of things here. I think you'll find we have a little bit for everybody maybe here, okay? So appreciate you tuning in on this fine Thursday. You could call in if you'd like, if you've got something on your mind, 888-775-3773. You got something on your mind, you could get on the air. I'm live on rumble.com/American Anchor Baby, dlive.tv/Gorgonzola. All of my people on punchy.tv, thank you. Appreciate for making an account there. So thank you for that. And what else here? Thanks, YouTube and all my viewers. So welcome. Look, click the like button. Do what you got to do. Look, don't be rude. Leave a comment. Say hello. Jump into the chat. Say hello. You're here. You're just sitting there not saying anything. We're like, oh, who's that? Oh, he's just sitting there. Say hello. Don't be rude. We're raised in a barn. So I want to jump into some news here. Let's kick it off with a little bit of the news because this menace is on my mind a bit, if I could put it that way. So let me just pull this all up because what basically went down are these protests, and they keep happening at these universities, and they're calling for attention on the Gaza situation. They're protesting ever since the attack over there with Hamas on October 7th. You must know by now it has lit up has lit up this old conflict, and it's got people into it, right? It's lit up this old conflict. They're seeing this as an 11th hour, an inflection point where you got these Palestinians and Palestinian supporters, Arabs in the region, are seeing this as a push and an essential push before Israel and the other side does something that has a winning scenario where they take the area like Gaza or whatever. So they're going by the any means necessary approach, where you just yell and protest everywhere outside of the area, trying to get global attention. And it has its effects, right? You have international courts, the UN, you have all sorts of support, but the war continues, right? Back in April 2000, basically a year ago now, right? We're in May now, but April, about a year ago, after October and all that, they set up the encampments, and it was different universities. It kind of went down. The argument was they're not being hard enough, or they're being too lenient. It depends on who you ask, right? But eventually, they'd bring down the NYPD to dismantle stuff at Columbia, at one case, but in other universities as well. And of course, you had the claims of, oh, this is too far. This is the police infringing free speech now and all that. And I understand that, right? It's like that sounds like a very reasonable statement, right? It's like, wow, that sounds so reasonable. And I don't want to say it doesn't. But I keep encountering this relationship with this fight where someone is saying something sounding reasonable, but if you just kind of pick at it a bit, you see it's quite unreasonable, if I may, with my attempt to stay far from trying to take a side here. It's just like, for example, these people, they're like, okay, we're gonna start setting up encampments, start protesting the universities, because one of their reasons was, for example, they have money going to Israel and Israel military, etc. So they call for divestment. They're out there saying, you make it transparent and stop giving money to Israel. But when you peel it back, right? Because the notion is that's their free speech, and that's actually somewhat reasonable. It's our tax money, etc. It's like, fine. That's so far that still sounds reasonable, right? But when you look at their requests, that's a nice way of putting it. Their demands, what they were asking for when they say divest. Hey, America, divest from Israel. You know what they're saying? Have you ever even looked into it? They're asking America to divest from where did I put it? Microsoft, Apple, Google. Hold on, I know those were some of the big ones. Microsoft, where did I put that? Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Apple, Lockheed Martin. You know, some of those maybe like Lockheed Martin, you're like, okay, well, not like I hear about that every day, but some of these are everywhere. They're like part of our society. Don't you see that as a little bit unreasonable? Hey, end Microsoft, Google, or else it's not free speech. And hey, hold on, I keep encountering that. Do you see that relationship a bit, if I may crudely describe it? But, that kept going. You get to May and more stuff happening. Administrative things happen, right? Didn't they brought some deans and stuff to the Congress and all, and they were asking them, hey, why aren't you getting rid of these protesters? It's like, and their claims of free speech, et cetera, that went down. That went down a bit, and then there were firings. So where was I? So they had these demands, a little unreasonable, don't you think? And then they protest, and they're seemingly allowed to do quite a bit until finally, it's like, okay, they're literally breaking stuff, stacking furniture. Let's bring the NYPD. And now it's like, oh, well, these are just poor. How are you going to do this to Americans that are, again, another unreasonable relationship? And I'm here supposed to believe these are reasonable arguments. So here, the news is basically at least 80 pro-Palestinian protesters detained at Columbia University after taking over a library room. You saw this a bit on the JLP show. They locked them in there and got their IDs. They didn't let them out. They didn't let them out until they got their IDs. They got their information. Because, they come in with masks. Very disruptive. I'm me a bit. I don't like this chaos. Where is the civility, right? It starts radicalizing me now. Now I'm just like, you know what? I'm fine with an armed military person at every corner. I would walk out of my door, and there'd be a military person with rifles. I'd walk out of my door and be like, how you doing, sir? Good morning. But, okay, look. Maybe I'm overreacting to these protesters. I am trying to tell you about this, though. And they're protesting and all that. And what can I say? Let me just say what I was thinking. Honestly, in my America, I'd bring the military in there. These people want a global intifada, they call it. Long live what is this guy even talking about? Intellectual Basel al-Araj intifada everywhere until victory, death to imperialism. And you got to understand, these people want a global intifada to rise up on all the nations so that, I don't know, because we got to care about them. Think about how entitled you have to be that the world owes you such a thing. Deport them. Deport them, visa. In my America, even if with a citizenship, I might consider something radical like that, but I'm not president. I love all people and I don't want anybody hurt. But that being said, if they're on a visa, expel them from the school. I can't even explain it that well, maybe, but you can't hide behind free speech on this one. And these students, like, what are they even doing? Do they know what they're doing? Let me go out with my Arab friends so that Arabs on the other side of the world can get hyped up for a war they might be eradicated in. They might be, I don't want to see that happen. I don't want that. So, and there's people who see this as a only legitimate challenge to the U.S. government, for example. But I'm not entirely convinced. And it's like the This aspect of the conversation becomes real or physical when I guess you talk about Iran, like, oh, are we gonna have a war with them or not? Who's pushing us? Who's not? And but for those who see this as a legitimate challenge to the U.S. government, I don't know if that's really the way to do it. By adopting some other nation's ideals? Like, think about that. When we see protests out there, that's not. There's no such thing as an individuals coming together to protest. I don't think. Tell me where I'm wrong. 888-775-3773. But when you see people grouped up like that, it's at the behest of an idea, right? An idea, a religion, a nation, a government. So just adopting Palestinian, Arab, the Arab, what do they call it? ICC, what do they call that? Whatever, that whole the Arab element of the world. Just adopting that, like, that's, I think, would plunge us into an even worse situation. Don't you think? You could, I'm waiting for someone to tell me where I'm wrong. But that would plunge us into a worse situation, don't you think? These people see us as the imperialists, okay? And adopting all that, I don't think would achieve the sovereignty of the U.S. government like people think it would. They see Americans as colonizers, I don't know. Tell me where I'm wrong, The Jews are that bad. Like, isn't this brown menace worse? No? Tell me if I can put it crudely. So no one's been able to convince me otherwise. Anyways, but like, what can I say? Yeah, I don't know. They're just look. What is this?
Let the protesters out.
She might swear. Careful. It's daytime TV. Watch your children. This is a white lady?
Let them out.
Let them out. They're barricaded and they're getting their IDs taken. 400,000 dead.
400,000 dead.
Oh.
And this is how you treat us. You consider this an inconvenience. 400,000 dead.
I mean, I'm laughing.
F your finals.
F your finals, she says. You got to care about what I care about. A lot of you, look, am I crazy to say that? Like, yes, I understand the people that are dying right now is over there in Gaza, Ukraine, etc. But, like, isn't this what happens? This is the world a little bit. Am I being cynical? Should I care? But what am I supposed to care about here? Because what I care about, I see this, I say, get out. Now, this lady, she's like what? White lady, young white lady, she's brainwashed. Some strong white man must just come and just remind her of the natural order of things. Look at this one. Are these all university people? Like, is that so? This is a student and this is a student. Hoochie mama. I'm sorry, right? I'm judgmental, right? Everybody could go to university, Nick. Hey, anybody can be smart, but I don't know. Everyone's getting a thrill here a bit. Is this a Jewish student here? Just go to class. Oh, then I heard they're not letting you. They're not letting them go to class. You're in my face. Yeah, you don't want to do that. You're messing with the wrong girl, Jewish lady, young Jewish student. You got. Is that tattoos? You do not want to mess with her. She will fight you. She will put hands on you, and you will be shocked. You will be left with wide eyes open and be like, I can't believe that happened.
No matter what, we're not gonna stop.
Anyways. Oh.
Yeah, I hope you get expelled. I hope you get expelled.
No. Is she doing it? She's getting into it with black girls? She is. She has a face piercing is what it is. This is a bad, don't do it.
Yeah, you don't have the right to take over, like, we're paying to be here.
Yeah.
We're paying to be here. You don't care.
You don't care.
If you want to go out.
Bro, say something that makes sense. Is she getting flustered a bit? Yeah, I would jump in and help her out. I would have jumped in and helped her out. Hey, why? Wait, did she say she was a student? Yeah, I would have jumped in. She's trying to be respectful, right? She's trying to be respectful, right? She may not have the words yet. She did a fine job, right? She did a fine job. Oh, we're students here too. She said, did she say she got a degree? I think she said she was a student. She got a degree. I'd be like, I'd be like, DEI degree having it. DEI degree having it. Hoochie mama look at you, but your daddy probably not even right. Like, okay, I would have turned black maybe.
Lie to us. Hit the books if you care so much. Yeah, bro, this is the fucking library. We're not allowed information to store.
Somebody help her. Anyways, let's move on from this. Deport them. Okay. Let's get the military in there. Okay. That's enough. Foreign agitators. Okay. 888-775-3773. Anyways, enough out of this, I think, here. Look, we're taking it easy today, you know. That was what I had. Oh, no. What are you saying in the chat? You know, that was what I had on the news here. We're taking it easy right now. Thursday show. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to do something different. So I just got a bunch of random topics here, you know. I'm going to smorgasbord this and take it easy. Stretch our legs here a bit. Kick it back. Is DEI revealed? I told you. I keep trying to tell you. But, yeah. So I got a couple topics here. We're going to take it easy now. Loosey-goosey Thursday, should you call it. And what else here? Nice to see you there, Lord Bibby. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. All the support. Kale Samogi. We'll get to Super Chats and all that. Super Chats, buymeacoffee.com/anchor, baby. We got coffee, Super Chats. We'll get to all that. But where was I? You know, we were talking about this campus stuff. And I had this thing. Where was it?
That's enough.
Is this important? Is this interesting enough? Let me see here. Is this interesting enough? Look, anti-Semitism. You keep hearing about it, right? And there was a video going around. The Free Press, I think, posted this. Now, who is this? Do I have this individual's name correct? I think her name is Maya Sulkin. Maya Sulkin. And she's some kind of a reporter person. Maya Sulkin. Because, see, I'm asking because I saw her called a different name. Barry Weiss. Is this the same person? No, I think Barry Weiss is a different person. This is Maya Sulkin, reporter at the Free Press. There we go. Student at Columbia University. There's this video going around, and you know, what interested me about it is I think it kind of described the limits of identity. You know, the limitations of identity and the unique and interesting relationship of having a different identity and being in a different country. Okay? And that unique relationship. And also, I think, describes a little bit of something I've mentioned before. How people restructure in ways that you just didn't think. You know, you had these groups, and they're just solid groups, but with proximity, with living with each other and having this melting pot. You have interesting restructurings. I think a clear one is Hamas, October 7th attack. All sorts of liberal Jews were like, you know, we got to support Trump. We got to make it happen. You know, these people basically see us as colonizers and they hate us. And so, see, you understand how people operate. It's an interesting thing.
I'm a Jew, and I've learned that that's enough to make me no longer worthy of their friendship or even basic kindness at school.
She's talking about I guess she's about to explain. That's from the anti-Semitism thing.
To make me no longer worthy of their friendship or even basic kindness at school. That's from Harvard's 311-page anti-Semitism report, which reveals what students already knew to be true, that the norm for Jews on campus is social exile, silence, and suspicion from their peers and professors. I'm Maya, I'm a reporter for the Free Press, and I just went through Harvard's anti-Semitism report, and here are some of the most disturbing things that I found. Nearly 60% of Jewish students...
You know what? I'm getting, my stomach's hurting listening to this.
Nation,
Look, the point I had about this, if I just may move a little bit quicker, it was simply the lack of sympathy that I think the public might have, and I would lack in those saying, well, we got to go harder on anti-Semitism. We got to go harder on this because of what's been happening and the conflict. And then the reasons and the examples she gives are a little unreasonable, kind of like these Hamas people at times, in that to her, and this is just in this video, to her, what accounts as anti-Semitism, etc., is, people ignoring tweets, etc., ignoring her messages. I think what caused that, Miss Maya Solkin, is anger. It's hatred, anger, but whatever. Isms, it's just where I come at it from. The ism thing is, I think, causing more trouble than you need. I'm watching out for y'all. I support y'all. Is terrible. It's like, oh, you want to defend yourselves and you're just a bunch of colonizers. That's something I can understand. So, out of understanding too, just reading the room, looking at how it's going, that's not a good strategy, I don't think. And it's like, what is it? At its core, it's a accusation. An accusation. And people, even if they're wrong about what they're concluding and believing, and suddenly they're wearing keffiyehs and stupid scarves, one thing it's going to make that worse is saying, well, I don't even want to hear you. You're allowed to not, you don't have to argue with people, by the way. I'm just saying in a general sense. In your individual life, I would suggest don't argue with people, hateful people. But anyways, it's, what I've just learned, and this is actually true. Trump executive order, this is not a joke. Executive of Wikipedia. This is Trump Executive Order number 14188, known as Additional Measures to Combat Anti-Semitism. So, what? Is that a joke? Like, who did that? What is that? That is just too funny. That is either accidental comedy, but, I'm just educated. I appreciate the ADL. Always keeping me educated. Otherwise, it would just be numbers to me. Honestly, otherwise, these would just be numbers. And I'd be like, okay, well, there's Trump, they're combating anti-Semitism, I guess. And that's the number of the executive order. But because I'm so educated, thanks to the ADL and those really into isms, like just constantly, I'm familiar with the numbers. It's like, why'd they put those numbers on the executive order on anti-Semitism? Is there a jokester out there? What a mess. Okay. Someone maybe wants a little bit of levity in the whole thing. It's really probably an accident. I'm just saying, like, what are the chances? How do they number these things? What's the process? What's the nomenclature rules on that? Is it just sequential? I don't know. But anyways, left wing, right wing, doesn't matter, right? If you will essentially default to your identity. So it's a funny thing about that. I mentioned restructuring too on the upcoming Punchy TV episode. It's just like I don't even know exactly. It's just a concept I'm maybe observing. It just seems like people restructuring ways that you didn't expect. Like TERFs. Consider TERFs, right? The feminists. And they're out there, by the way. They're out there. They're like, you know what? They picked the Pope, by the way, also. Side note. But they're out there. They got the pink smoke, the feminists. They're out there. All these men, they're out here picking popes, and you know what? We got our say about it. We want the pink smoke.
A woman's place is in the conclave.
A woman's place is in the activists release pink smoke over the Vatican to protest the male-only conclave.
Smoke out sexism.
Yeah, ladies.
We are doing this because we know we've got a little window of time before the cardinals are sequestered inside that Sistine Chapel with no access to their social media and their phones, that they will see the pink smoke over the Vatican, and they will know that women are sending a clear signal that they cannot go in with 133 men deciding the future of the Catholic Church without half of that Catholic Church. They are going to talk about all sorts of issues. They will not talk about the ordination of women priests, and the equality of women.
You know, it's an old idea, right? Ordination of women, women in the church and all that. I didn't grow up like that. I had to see it for myself. I had to see what women do with power, with leadership control, and then I understood. So when you ask the anchor baby, my reasoning is from watching. Okay, what women do with power is terrible. Wicked, you know, you gave them sexual liberty, and they're like, let's perverse society and use it on everybody. And you can't say otherwise. It's the source of what we do. They call it their femininity. Give them the option. Hey, look, you don't want to be in that marriage. Maybe you're out there. You're in marriages that you shouldn't be in. Fine. Let's just give you control. I'm not saying that we should force women into marriage. That's not what I'm saying. But what they do with it destroyed all the families. But anyways, look, it's a funny thing. I just mentioned the feminists, and this reminded me of this video I thought I'd show you. But what was I saying about them? They're out there, look, and at one point, they're like, we're even supporting the trans. The feminists achieved they allied with other minority groups, blacks, other they call it civil rights movements, right? But then at some point, the women are like, wait, hold on. This is about our supremacy. And these men wearing skirts are beating us in sports. They're just, you know what, we got to put a stop to that. They call them TERFs now, right? Trans exclusionary radical feminists. And you have a restructuring, because now you got like right-wing people, liberal, you know, like somewhat right-wing, allying with the once feminists, but they're feminists. They are feminists through and through. They are feminists, radical. So anyways, this is the little thing about restructuring, huh? It's just an interesting thing about people. And isn't that just like how people are? They want what they want, and they'll do it even if it'll hurt them. Like, even if it's like, let me team up with my enemy because I want this. Short-sighted, maybe? Anyways, let me come out of my bird's eye view here. Let me come back down from the clouds. You know, these pink clouds, though. You know, this could be just like a little grandma or just aunt. And it's just like, you know what? Yeah, my church, Miriam, she's a nice lady at my church. And I agree with her. It's time to, let's go light up the pink smoke. And we'll make a message out there. These are like Hamas. These are barbarians. Okay? Aunt Patty, who went to this thing, is a barbarian who wishes to destroy her enemies and find supremacy, even if it destroys the world. Straight up. But anyways. So some thoughts. Rando thoughts on this loosey-goosey Thursday. Politics and people a bit. We chilling, Ivana. Very nice. It's kind of a chill Thursday. Kicking it back a bit. They should be excommunicated, says He Black. Chilling is a mindset, regardless of circumstances. Interesting comments in the chat. Why aren't you in the chat? Just checking you all out here. Hey, appreciate the calls coming in too. 888-775-3773. Let me get to these calls, super chats, and all that, because I got more stuff for you. Let me get to William out of California. How you doing, sir? You're on the air.
Hey, what's up, Nick?
All is well, sir.
Hey, you know what's funny about what you was just showing? Got a little more time to talk to you about it, because, you know, when you call hate, you got to let it, you know, other people talk. But, yeah, Dylan on today. You know what, man, to tell you the truth, the Palestine situation is that Palestine is not a country, and unless they could take their country through military force and showing responsibility with being in the world market, they're not a country, and Israel is about to take it. and say they don't care where they go. Now, that could be because of their, their behavior over the last 40 years because, what I'm trying to get at, Nick, is that they wouldn't even allow anybody from gay or LGBTQ, none of that. They would
over
throw them
there.
off. They would throw you off the roof blindfolded, hands tied behind the back. They would kill you.
Yeah,
they would kill me and you.
They have a different society.
They will kill me and you, and let alone something like that.
Yeah, man, it's like people allying with that. I don't think they're really thinking. And I'm not saying everybody who's critical is allying with them, but
the world,
it's really silly. It's really silly, and they really shouldn't be here. So
it's not
I can't even
land
fully
either.
explain it, but hiding behind free speech it's not working on me.
Yeah.
I don't think they're reasonable people.
If you really think about it, the New World Order, which is after World War II, and they remapped everything, and they came out of the Holocaust.
Yeah.
The Brits gave them that land, and when they got there, they tried to wipe their whole race out. And they had just went through that thing in Germany, the concentration camp. So Israel is like one of the most responsible countries in the Middle East. They keep things halfway together. But they went after them as soon as they got out there after World War II, like 46, 47. And then that other guy, what's his name? Arafat?
Someone familiar?
You see, yeah. I mean, his people are really Hamas. They were young kids back in the 80s. And they've been attacking Israel off and on for the last 40 years, 50. So it's the same old story.
You bring up...
They're not going to beat them.
I mean, you bring up an important concept here about this post-World War II order that the world
it's
either
mapped out.
Yeah,
they went over there after the Russians in the United States when they came in on Germany, and they let those people out of those camps.
Yeah,
these people vowed to never be treated that way ever again, and they fight hard, and they do have the United States support, and there's nothing nobody can do about that either. They have a nuclear bomb. They have a lot of our equipment. They buy a lot of arms. And, they beat those countries, like all of them, in the 6-Day War. And the United States is never going to turn their back on them.
It sounds superior.
They're like the number 4 army in the world. That little country.
Huh. That sounds superior to me,
And they have, they don't like to publicize it, but they have a nuke. They got a couple of nukes.
They call it chosen, maybe superior.
Right.
I don't
it's
know.
Not stealing land. Look, that place before they got there had a bucket with sand in it, no water. And they came in and built the country. And the people that were there wasn't doing anything. I think we did that here in America with the Indians. What was they doing with it?
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. You bring up the concept, and it's important, I think, because I grew up in this post World War II order. Okay, I enjoyed a high quality of life because of it. Okay, and that's the only life I know. And these people want to challenge that. The world has, whether good or bad. I'm sure there's plenty of criticism.
Of course,
they go out exporting pride parades. I hear. I don't know how true that is, but
and
for all the criticisms you can have, I grew up in this order. And these people want to completely take it down, and I'm just not convinced. I'm not convinced because you bring that up. You bring up a good thing like Palestine. You could say, well, why didn't they choose to go a different way, to work with the world order as it's placed, and try to be a real country? Because I think you're right. It's barely a real country. So
it's not a country.
It's not a country. I mean, what is a real country? A country is an
economy.
What
they always say
they're just war. They're just revenge. Or unless I'm wrong about that.
And Palestine is not in prison. Free Palestine, but Palestine is not in prison. Palestine doesn't really exist as a country, and Israel owns it. And now they're saying, we're so sick of you, we don't care where you go. And that's the results.
Yeah, man.
I mean, they like I said, they are the stability of the Middle East. So the United States kind of are going to always support keeping them safe.
It
and we
seems to
keep
me
everybody safe. Actually, we keep everybody safe without even firing a shot.
Right, it's
That's
like
reality.
either they're there or the Arabs are. I don't know how else to put it, but
I mean, the Arab world has been trying to drag the United States into a long, dragged-out war, which they have, but they have never beat us, and you know it. Never.
Yeah.
It's like poking a bear with a toothpick. Like, you know, would you go hunting with a toothpick in the woods with no clothes on? That's kind of like with Ukraine, messing around with Russia. That's actually your situation over there, and there's no strategic advantage of us threatening World War III, messing with our enemy. Just like we wouldn't allow Mexico to do it. Definitely not.
Fair enough, William. Yeah, I'm a little ignorant on some of these things, the foreign policy, but
yeah, what is it called? The something doctrine that protects the whole Western Hemisphere.
I'm not familiar. Doctrine?
Yeah, some kind of doctrine. I mean, if Mexico's not going to be supplied by China to fight a guerrilla war, because they can only fight a guerrilla war with us, we'd stomp them. But if China or Russia tries to supply Mexico to do a proxy war, that wouldn't end good for nobody.
I'm not familiar, William, but I appreciate your commentary on this. Is there something else you want to say?
No, that's it. It's just kind of hard to understand because all this stuff goes back so far.
You said what?
All this stuff goes back so far.
It does,
it's hard to understand it in one conversation.
That's true.
Yeah.
Fair enough, William. Appreciate that. Call me again.
Okay, man. Take care.
888-775-3773. Amazing. But what is about this? Let the LGBT people be, some say. Just leave them alone. They would be normal. They would just be living normal, boring, normie lives if you just let them be, some say. In a conversation that is getting a lot of attention here on X, this person has got some claims about the situation. LGBT, the single way to eradicate transgenderism would be to fully support youth transition, allowing them a complete normie life as their preferred sex, their condition footnoted away like asthmatics. Just as gay culture died with gay rights, trans culture would also evaporate. Is there some fresh thinking on this? I think it's kind of been a long drawn out. I think that's been the experiment. Don't you think, Minnie Modu? That's been the experiment. Let's just normalize it, make it normal. But we're kind of in the throes of that. Not exactly working. Aren't we? Most LGBT people would be boring normies if allowed to live without oppression, which corrals them into a debauched bohemian lifestyle they don't have the stones for. See, I don't know what that means. They'll still be trans and autistic, but the rest is grafted and sloughs off with societal acceptance. Oh, they're just not accepted? Is that what it is? If we only accepted each other, their lives wouldn't be so radically different, so maybe at times chaotic, statistically chaotic, maybe even in some cases. I mean, that's maybe the thinking of some. Where was I here? Yeah, that's the thinking of some here. Where did I put this? Darn, hold on. This centers around another conversation here. Oh, yeah, it was this conversation on monkeypox. You remember monkeypox? It was that virus that got some media attention. Mpox, my bad. Formerly known as monkeypox. Disease caused by the infection with a virus known as the monkeypox virus. This virus is part of the same family that causes smallpox. Now, I don't even know why they called it monkeypox. Did it actually come from a monkey or not? Is that even a real thing? Do these diseases come from animals? Or do they just come from laboratories? Not that I know about that stuff, but there was some bunch of misunderstandings in this thread about monkeypox in reference to this conversation about don't if society simply accepted them, they wouldn't be so chaotic, right? In response to that, there was this thread on monkeypox. And it was, the misunderstandings here were kind of funny. They were a little bit humorous. This person was saying monkeypox, when it crashed into American gays, it infected gay men, their dogs, and their adopted boys. It spreads via daytime programming, and I'm telling you about words like anogenital. It's just too funny of a word. I've never even read that before. Spreads via we can imagine what that might mean. Contact. This person is asking the public to think on that. Just consider that. Just consider that. There was a bunch of misunderstandings. They're all mad at him like, you made that up. Okay, you just made that up. This person's asking them to clarify what they're denying. What are you denying? That it spreads among men who have sex with men via anogenital contact? I'm immature. Or that children and dogs were well represented among the first 100 to 200 American victims. This person misunderstood, they read the CDC thing saying, well, it can be spread through just contact. It doesn't have to be sex. Why are you being weird? Okay, it could just be contact. But this person replies, almost maybe ripping the hair out of the head, hoping they'd understand. Are you hugging and kissing your dog? Are you understanding the vectors of transmission here? Why? Answer the question. Why was the incidence higher in dogs and children? If it could spread through skin contact, and it could have arisen in any other population demographic, why? The question remains, why did it arise in the dogs? Huh? So that was funny, just people misunderstanding that. The claim, it's like per capita. It's like, what? Don't you know most white people commit crime? The claim was that it could be spread by cuddling. That obviously isn't true. If it could be spread by hugging and social contact, here it is, women would have been much larger percent of the list. It's just, thought experiments here. I personally, you ask me, I'm not on the, if society simply didn't judge them, I don't know if it's really just that. Even now, with it being so accepted, you got celebrities with trans children, folks. It has not changed how chaotic that is. And maybe it's just simply because you've made emotions and sex and these chaotic things as central to your identity. But what a mess, right? I'm bringing this up too because on this whole thread, someone had posted this. Someone posted this under this whole thread, and concerning LGBT and all that. Who's waiting for GTA 6, Grand Theft Auto 6? Gonna be a big one. Gonna be a huge video game. It's good. These Grand Theft Autos, when they come out, they're huge. And people, they're some of the like higher end now. We'll see. Will GTA 6 continue this trend of groundbreaking, just widely beloved gaming? It's been so many years, right? These GTAs have been coming out since I was a kid. GTA 4, I think I played. I remember doing the first mission in GTA 5, and you're at the mansion. It starts off, you're like that guy who's married to this hell of a wife. They do these stories really nice. They're saying they're bringing, it's woke. They're bringing in pride parades into GTA 6. You've seen some of I'm sure you've seen some of the trailers and all that. They're pushing the date. It's not coming out till next year, maybe. We'll see if we play it. Maybe we could play it with Jesse. We played GTA 5 with Jesse Lee Peterson. I remember he had a lot of fun driving that car. But once I gave him guns in that video game, and this is Jesse Lee Peterson playing a video game, right? A very popular video game known as Grand Theft Auto. You're familiar. Once you gave him the guns, it was over. Any person he saw on that street was digitally murdered in a video game by at the hands of Jesse Lee Peterson using a video game controller. You know, and that's something everybody does. That's something everybody does in that video game franchise. Everybody knows this. GTA, it's like, okay, you know what? Let me go on a rampage. They're saying GTA 6, you know, you're seeing the trailers and, you know, with so much that has happened in America, they're putting that in the game. It's just what they do. They're good at that. Pride parades Pride parades are reportedly going to be part of GTA 6. And you know, this GTA 6 will feature pride parades. Is this meme that was posted in this thread. Provided with no comment. Why are you smiling, dog? Wait, why are you smiling so hard, little dog? Why are you smiling so hard? Don't tell me you're having intrusive thoughts about doing something with the digital pride parade in a video game. What a terrible thing. I don't know how they'll handle that, GTA, honestly. I don't know how they'll handle that. Are they going to ban it? Are they going to make it like an invisible digital wall? You know how sometimes they put up walls in video games? You could drive, and it's like, I can't get past this thing. Oh, you're going to put me on rails? Are they going to put us on rails? You know, I'm not, without trying to be super edgy, like, oh, ban me. Like, really, consider for a moment what I'm saying here. I'm talking about a video game franchise that is going to be released, and you're allowed to go on a murderous rampage in these video games, and they're going to put pride parades in it. Will they stop people from doing that? You know, if you ask me, without any desire for violence, not even a shred of it to anybody, they should allow people to do that in GTA 6. You've been allowed to mow down everything else in those games. You've literally been allowed to go on a murderous rampage for everything else, but it should be allowed. It should be allowed in the spirit of unity. For real. Hold on. I really mean that when I say the ism stuff, the over complaining is causing trouble, rifts, crazy ideation. I'm telling you, the cause of that is the behavior of those so-called victims and oppressed. The cause of that is that. So in the spirit of lowering tensions, even in the spirit of lowering tensions, national unity, let the kids run over the pride parade in the video game GTA 6 when it comes out. But anyways, you know, don't clip that. GTA is a satire of America. They got to let us do it or it ain't GTA anymore. So anyways, yeah, we got to get Jesse on the GTA 6 when it comes out, for real. Grand Theft Auto. Amazing. We don't want to let anybody feel left out type deal, you know. A bunch of original Rockstar devs left and aren't involved with GTA 6. Could be bad news. So anyways. Yeah, you know, that'd be interesting. AI in them, in those NPCs. Will they, if they're, yeah, you know what, delay it. GTA, Rockstar, delay it, do what you got to do. I love delays. Make it better. Make it amazing. Incredible. You know, on that too, since we're talking about it, thematically speaking, you know, Trump remains just legendary and an absolute comedian. You know, I heard Dylan Burns on the Hake Report today offer a permanent position for Donald Trump in the U.S. government. A position that would be created just for him. And I personally don't think it's necessarily that bad. Dylan Burns was on the Hake Report as a guest, and he offered Trump the position of court jester, a permanent position in the U.S. government where he could just kind of go off on the government and officials and everybody, and we just kind of get to listen and have to listen. And a permanent position. I don't even think he was trying to be that derisive to the president, Donald Trump. And I think he would excel in such a position. I don't think it's necessarily bad. But he remains an absolute legend. He's talking about here in response to... hold on. He's just talking about Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg, as he says. Pete Buttigieg. And he makes just a little mention about the country. The types of people you kind of have to choose between. And if those are your choices, you know what? Leave me out of it, he says. Pretty much. Watch this.
And when they took over, Buttigieg, who has no clue, he drives to work on his bicycle with his, in all fairness, with his husband on the back, which is a nice, loving relationship. But he didn't have a clue. This guy didn't have a clue. And he's actually a contender for president. Between him and Crockett, you can have that party. But he didn't know what he was doing.
Between him and Crockett, yeah, that's actually a mess. How crazy radical, left and right. Wherever you look, you got Crockett and Buttigieg, who has a husband who drives around his bike. I'm sure in a loving relationship. Trump says, "Where's the other angle on this?" Trump, there's another camera angle on this, and you see his face, and it's way funnier. It's way funnier. And there's basically issues with the air traffic controllers, national transportation, so to speak. And I don't know if Buttigieg, what is he? Is he still? He's the former United States Secretary of Transportation. He's criticizing how these people operate and the ongoing problems that they're dealing with even today a little bit, as they're still transitioning from the actions and stuff these people did.
And when they took over,
and he talks about his loving relationship on his little bicycle. He doesn't say little, but.
And when they took over, Buttigieg, who has no clue, he drives to work on his bicycle with his, in all fairness, with his husband on the back, which is a nice, loving relationship. But he didn't have a clue. This guy didn't have a clue. And he's actually a contender for president. Between him and Crockett, you can have that party.
Crockett. Yeah, you can have it. Insano world. That Crockett knows what she's doing, by the way. That was a piece of work. That Crockett knows what she's doing when she's up there saying stuff like, what was it like? White people know that blacks, etc., are qualified. They're overqualified, in fact. So when they're out there mad about DEI, I'm paraphrasing, they're really just jealous. They can't do what we're doing, right? She knows what she's saying. She knows she's just pushing buttons. But, on that, if I may, real quick, are you familiar with this individual, James Carville? Are you all familiar with this guy? I actually met him once with Jesse. He's like an old name in the Democratic Party world. Someone who's, takes are highly regarded. They call him a strategist, Democratic strategist. He's got some comments on another radical, Ilhan Omar. You're familiar with Ilhan Omar? He had some comments on that, and this is a Democrat.
Ilhan Omar says that white men are responsible for most of the deaths in the United States. So let me get this straight. 69% of the people, I'm stuck on that number, I don't know, but 69% of the people going to vote are white. Of that, 48.5% are males. So I don't know, my rough math is 33%. Let's go out and piss off 33% of the people that vote, and that's a smart strategy. And the people that agree with her. There are people that actually agree with her. And I think these people are more trouble than they're worth.
Oh, but you're kind of saying, hold on, these people? What do you mean? These people are more trouble than they're worth? James Carville, Democrat. Now I don't know him that well. I'm about to basically try and lump him in with anti-racists and stuff. But I have to assume he is a little bit. And maybe I'm wrong for that. I know he was against Trump, and I remember Jesse going right up to him and saying, "Yeah," just kind of like, "Let's go, Trump." And James Carville was not too happy. But I have to assume that at least in some part, he's at least looked the other way on this anti-racism crap, which is anti-white. And so now here he is, right? He's like, these people are more trouble than they're worth. Oh, this is not looking good. And this is, who am I talking to here? I'm talking to angry, radical, brown and black people in America. The what's the word? Sympathy is running out. And I don't want I don't want violence. I don't want anything terrible happening to anybody I've mentioned. But it's the sympathy's running out type vibe. And it's just an ugly thing when should you stick to your guns on anger and blame and hate and victimhood. Life, I mean, I just don't know what it's going to look like. I just don't know what it's going to look like. I suggest being an individual, right? And working, starting at the beginning with yourself, and then your world, your community, etc. And living a real life as opposed to a hate, blame, victimhood life, and start living for real. Because it's going to run out. It's running out. It's running out. James Carville, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's here saying these people are more trouble than they're worth. It's over. The Overton window is being smashed. The Overton window is being smashed. And I don't know what to say. Restructurings are happening. Okay? And maybe it's worth restructuring for the better, for the good, or at least something better than this unreal life of blaming, of thinking the world, you're entitled to the world. They have to care about your pain and that you're and that not as if you're not as evil as the world. So that was an interesting thing, I thought. A little marker, a little bit of a marker of American society here, yeah? What do you think? What do y'all think? 888-775-3773. Appreciate all the support here. Pinocchio, thank you. Buymeacoffee.com/anchor baby. Kale Samogi with the super chat says, we'll get World War III before GTA 6. I cancel those words in the name. But thanks, Kale. Appreciate the support. Aaron, thank you. Says, isn't it wild? Hold on. He writes, isn't it wild that if women's just chilled out and let the men handle everything, they would 100% be chilling? Well, they wouldn't be worrying about such complicated things. Kale Samogi again. It says, Palestine isn't on the map. It doesn't exist. Thank you. Appreciate all the support, everybody. Ang Band and everybody else. Thank you. Rumble. What's up, people on Rumble? Gerda. Name I don't usually see. But thank you. Appreciate all the support. Members all over there. Jules, Gerda, Hake. And my members. DJ T. Very supportive as always. Amazing. Okay, let's see what else here. 888-775-3773. Keeping it loosey-goosey. Take this one in. Let's see here. Which one should we do? People, here's another conversation that was bothering people. Let me pull it up here. So where was it? What do I want to do next? What do I want to do next? Let's do let's do this here. Male sexuality. Whoa. Some people online are having this conversation surrounding male sexuality. Lizzie here and her commentary on the topic is going viral. She has some thoughts on this, on male sexuality. Let me see here. Do I really want to talk about this? Let me see here. Yeah, I mean, look, basically, Lizzie's going viral here because she submits. She says, "I submit that young women were not meant to understand male sexuality, and if they did, a great many would be so disgusted by its realities they would cease engaging in sex with men. Coming to terms with the realities of male sexuality is part of the female sexual maturation process. However, in modernity, where our relationship structures of polite mirage have largely crumbled, laying bare harsher realities, young women must square these more basal systems of male sexuality with normal but different human functioning." A lot of words here. Then their own or risk-building mental structures that create disdain for men themselves. Wait, you know what? I may have misunderstood Lizzie here. I should probably have left this for when I thought about this more. Now, not all women need this politeness mirage, because here's what I got from it. You know what? I don't even understand what I got from it. I'm doing this in the wrong order. I should leave this for some other time, honestly. Apologies, folks. Apologies. Here's a funny one for you. This one popped up. This one popped up on my feed. Who knows this one? Speaking of natural orders, who knows this one? Black taxi driver defends his right to wear an armband. And not just any armband. Okay, we're talking that swastika armband, okay? And this is an older one. This is like an old video. And this one was getting attention on the internet again. And it's a hilarious one. And it's just funny the way he talks. It's definitely a funny one concerning even some of the topics going around now. But he wore an armband. And the news came up to him and asked him about it. Like, he thought he went viral for it, basically. Wearing a straight up Nazi armband while being a taxi cab driver. Kind of imposing in our workplace. Hold up, man. But here he is being interviewed by CBS News in a bit of a classic clip here.
You said, what do you think about wearing that? Did you mean to offend anybody?
I didn't mean to offend anybody. I'm just expressing my First Amendment, freedom of expression. You know, if other people have the right to wear what they want to wear, then why not a National Socialist?
Well, you know what that means, right?
I know what it means. It is a symbol of National Socialism. The media portrays it as hate, but not to us. Not to us.
Who is us?
The media.
Who is us? So you say us.
The media.
No, you.
Us. Believers of the ideology, National Socialism. We don't call it Nazi. That's what you guys call it, Nazi. We call it National Socialism.
It's so funny because it's so matter of fact. This is like years ago. Like, wait, this was happening years ago. He's so matter of fact, but a black man, right? So he's so it's just like turning heads, I'm sure.
But you know what happened under National Socialism, right?
I know what happened, but that is another subject. That is another subject. I just believe that we've been told lies about Hitler our whole life. But I don't want to talk about what allegedly had happened over there.
You're saying it didn't happen?
Well, I have no comment on that. I have no comment on that at this point.
Do you have the band with you?
I do not have the armband with me.
Do you wear it normally?
Once in a while, I wear it. I mostly wear it inside of my house.
Why?
Because I'm a National Socialist.
What does that mean?
I believe in the natural order of things.
I believe in the natural order of things. See, that's an interesting comment. Hold on.
Because I'm a National Socialist.
What does that mean?
I believe in the natural order of things.
The natural order?
The natural order. We believe in reason and nature. We believe in survival of the fittest. We believe in all that other stuff.
You know, real National Socialists wouldn't have cared for you at all.
I don't understand that question. I don't know what you mean by that.
You mean, they believed in Aryan supremacy. They believed in they exterminated people they didn't like.
Well, they believe in their race. You see, National Socialism doesn't teach you to have hatred of some other. It teaches you to have.
So wait, what was it? I was trying to read something too. He said it already, right? Natural order. He goes on with this reporter, right? It's just like go back and forth. very, very careful what he's saying. He's like, I do not want to talk about that at this time. I do not, I do not want to talk about that at this time.
Be a national socialist. You don't have to be white. It can
What else was funny about this? Hold on.
That is another subject. That's another subject. I do not want to comment.
You were wearing that on your forearm so people would see it, didn't you?
I do. I did.
And you know what it means to most people?
Yeah, to them it means hate. But I have a First Amendment. I have a right, so I get to, you know, I should be able to wear whatever I want to wear, no matter how offensive it is.
But you're not doing it in the cab anymore, are you?
I'm not doing it in the cab anymore.
So where was I think that's it, all the funny parts. Hold on.
Other subject, and I have to go in depth on that. I am not.
Don't ask me that question.
And the Speedos.
Oh yeah. It's almost over.
I have no comment. Like I said, that is another subject, and I have to go in depth on that. I am not going to talk about that right now.
It sounds like you're a Nazi.
I am. I'm a national socialist. What you guys call a Nazi. I am. I'm a believer of it.
A lot of people are going to be really upset by that. I mean, we fought a war over that.
Yeah, you know, aren't a lot of people upset because homosexuals run around freely with their gay flag and their Speedos and dancing like this and saying that I'm proud to be gay? Why can I say that I'm proud to be a Nazi? What you guys call it?
So I see you guys in the chat. You're like, base, yo, base. This guy's so based. But it was an interesting thing. I saw this on my feed again. I've seen this every now and again. And he mentions this thing, natural order. The natural. I'm a national socialist. I believe in the natural order of things. I was like, what the heck does that mean? I had to kind of like do a little bit of research because I had heard that a little bit. I had heard the National Socialists believe in that. They believed in a natural order of things. I even heard that Hitler said that he learned that from the Americans. But that's another thing, you know. Let me get to what I was saying here. Just that phrase was interesting. It was a thread I wanted to pull on, the natural order and how different ideologies and people in our, even in our recent modern history, their different conclusions on this natural order of things. I mean, you know, I personally don't know. I mean, sometimes it seems like it, right? Sometimes it seems like there's a clear natural order to things in a sense, right? Even in small ways. Here's a beaver. This is a beaver raised by humans, by people. Not amongst other beavers, right? This beaver just exhibits dam building behavior. It just wants to build a dam. It's what's naturally inside of this beaver to do, to build a dam, right? That's what they do. They're out there in the rivers and they put wood, they grab branches and sticks and logs and they build dams, natural dams out in nature. And it just has this desire to do that in a sense, right? But you know, wait, a little bit more of this footage. Hold on. SpongeBob, right on. Beavers are pretty cool. Beavers are pretty solid animal, I gotta say. Solid animal, probably A-tier animal. Might even be S-tier animal. Are there other animals out there in the world that literally change ecologies by creating dams? Like, let's go. But, you know, I don't know. I can't say I'm convinced, though. I really just don't know. Because, like, think about it. In a lot of ways, because, look, you get saying based. Oh, he's so based. But you don't really know. You don't really know. Okay, so you were like, wow, I wasn't told the exact truth about Hitler. So he was right about everything. It's like, isn't he evidently wrong? Whatever conclusions he had, it didn't work. Superior people don't have to, you know, they don't have to prove they're superior in a sense. Don't you think? They wouldn't lose. So, and you know what's the most inferior thing of all? Anger in a sense, spiritually speaking. So I just don't know, right? Natural order of things. I just don't know. I just don't know. There's people having major arguments about this and conversations concerning this. You know, going super viral. And I'm sure when you have this immigration stuff and all these topics, Trump coming in and all that, you're seeing these conversations just kind of go, they're just more and more popular or whatever. People are just speaking about it, they're thinking about it. On X, it happens a lot. Joel Berry, now I think he's Breitbart. I think this is Breitbart, right? Managing editor of the Babylon Bee, actually, my bad. Joel Berry here on X. He's trying to tell people, he's trying to tell the right wing about race. He says race isn't real, unchanging, or God ordained in the same way gender is real, unchanging, and God ordained. A huge mistake being made by many on the right today. Just because some human categories are real doesn't mean all human categories are equally real. In truth, race is about as real as the caste system in India. Honor God-ordained categories, keep man-made categories in an open hand. That's a lot of words. When I first read it, I had more thoughts. Loosey-goosey show, folks, but when I first read it, I had more thoughts on it. Is this even that important? Like, I had more thoughts on it when I first read it. It's real enough, right, Joel Berry? It's real enough for people. It's real enough for people, I guess. What else was I saying about this? Who cares? Matt Walsh, I think, was responding to this. I think that's what it was. He's like, it's still a fact, right? Race is still a fact. He was essentially saying, we know that a black man and a black woman will always create a black child. It's an inherited trait. It makes it real. If I walk around claiming I'm a black man, that claim is ridiculous and false. But whatever. Natural order of things. I just don't think people really know. Have you noticed that? Yeah. Our initial preconceived notions that we were maybe taught are being challenged, and I think that's great, personally speaking, right? We were taught racism is real. It's like, no, that was a brainwashing word in an attempt to, structure and control society, bring about a false stability for a ruling class. That's really what that is. So, yeah, I'm glad it's being challenged. But we don't really know. We don't really know, Got people calling me like they heard a Hitler speech, and now it's like, okay, he was right about everything. It's like we're here now, today, right? Like it's a little silly to be a national socialist from 19 whatever of that Germany today. Like that's just, you're not thinking right. Anyways, I'm just rambling now about random things here. But anyways, natural order. They're getting at something, They're getting at something. I don't know if they were totally right. I don't know. But anyways, superior people would not have to, would not need protection from a word. How about that one? Huh? You saw Shiloh Hendricks. You saw based white woman says N-word at a park in America. Did you see this one? This Chinese woman? Pretty much at the same time. I don't know if she got also a bunch of attention, but I don't know in the same way as Shiloh, right? She got some negative attention over there in China. And she goes off on what I assume is just a black individual in China. It's unclear, really, the situation. I don't even know the details, why this even started. It seems like I have to assume she just came up to this individual and started telling her to get out of China.
Black nigger.
You are a black N-word. Get out of China. We don't like N-words here. I don't know how this started off, but I just have to assume that she came up to her. Unless there was a precipitating cause here. There's the black hand of the camera woman, I think.
Do you eat watermelon?
She says, do you eat watermelon? Attempting to speak English. Not doing terribly, but she's right, giving her the 1-2 verbally. And I don't know what started it off. I'm not going to call this a Shiloh Hendricks, right? Oh, it's just any person says the N-word. Like, yeah, I do, however, support her right to say it and not for a single word to be special. But this whole, why am I bringing this up? Because it seems like the N-word is even special in China. This reportedly is that same Chinese woman who went viral for hurling racial slurs at a black woman was allegedly, according to this person, arrested in China by Chinese authorities and forced to apologize. It does sound like her. We don't see the face, and I can't even confirm that. But
my ex-boyfriend, he was brainwashing me for a long time, and now
my ex-boyfriend was brainwashing me with some. We got some. What is it? Is it a Nazi Chinese ex-boyfriend, or you got some I don't know, some right-wing online boyfriend? Do we have a Nazi passport bro on our hands that brainwashed this poor Chinese girl to say the N-word to what seems to be an innocent bystander, right? What was this person doing? They may have just been eating in a restaurant. I really don't know. Yet, even in the CCP, am I to believe, if this news being reported is true, you are not even allowed to say it in China.
Totally sorry for what I have done. I think we're all humans, and why I have such an opinion because my ex-boyfriend, he was brainwashing me for a long time, and now I realize it's totally wrong. I shouldn't put my personal emotions on others. I think we're
blame your actions on your ex. Classic female. Yeah, even in China.
All the same. And you're cultivated, you have quality, you know about culture, and you teach English. So I think you probably, in some ways, you are even better than me. And I shouldn't even have such things. I'm really sorry for that. Forgive you.
Forgive me. Oh, that's not I thought that was a military member for a second. But I mean, the reports were that she was arrested by authorities and forced to apologize. That might be her, the victim in question, the black woman. And they hug it out.
Sorry for that. Forgive you.
Forgive me. No racism here. Now, what would be the CCP strategy here? Is it like nation building in Africa? Is that kind of thing? Like, is all anti-racism just like colonialism? Is it actually based? Is it like the horseshoe theory? These anti-racists are actually based racists, which I disavow. You know what I'm saying? Like, is the anti-racism just like colonialism because China wants to have good relations with Africa? You know, they're doing some colonial building, right? You know this? The empires still exist. Oh, you thought, oh, it's the world, oh, it's the liberal rules-based order, sovereignty, blah blah blah, right? You learned that in school. Actually, no, it's still imperialism. And so is anti-racism really just imperialism? Nation building? CCP doesn't want to, you know, we're gonna even crack down on our own citizens for the good of the expansion of the empire. You know, I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. Thinking differently. But yeah, I just wonder what the strategy is. But you're not allowed even there, even China. Being black must be the most unique experience in the entire world, where you can go around the entire world acting like garbage cans. And I don't want to say that about this woman here in this case, but just the global reputation, if I may, for real. And you have the entire world's governments, companies, you know, kiss your butt. It's crazy. That can't be good. That can't be good for anyone. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's got to have a terribly toxic effect. More than I think any race would, don't you think? Tell me where I'm wrong. Natural orders, you know? Chinese natural order. You know, what did they conclude? Just thinking out loud here. Is it fair to say Confucianism? You know, the CCP, they are actually religious and nationalist in a way. Because I'm sure you've heard things about the Chinese government, communists, and in many ways what do these communists do? They have to destroy the previous cultural elements of a society so that you can have your revolution, your new communist, right, society. And I don't know if that's fair to say. They really use cultural elements to bring about stability in their own society. That's just something I've seen the CCP do. So they like their Confucianism. They kind of like these old Chinese things. They have a positive effect in the stability of that society. For what's the natural order for the Chinese, man? You could call in if I'm wrong about this. This is just my crude kind of thoughts on it as I've observed the Chinese hierarchy, natural relational hierarchy. Right, parent, child, ruler, subject, harmony. Isn't that Confucianism? The harmony of your natural, of the being in harmony with the order of nature and people. So, like, accepting your place in life. That's a natural order, right? Liberal democracy. What did the is it fair to say the Americans? What did the Americans come up with? All men are created equal with natural rights. So yeah, I don't know who was just rambling a bit about how people order themselves and the natural order of things. But anyways, yeah, you just can't say this word anywhere. It's crazy. You see this one?
No. Don't invite. No. I don't want you to invite this woman to say a racially harmful term in front of me because I'm the only.
Say the N word. Go on.
No.
Go on. Say it. Go on.
Say.
So you're familiar with this, maybe, but what you're seeing here is a panel that was on Piers Morgan's show. This is Lily Gaddis. She had a little conversation with Piers Morgan about the N word, and right before this, Piers Morgan was on his high horse a little bit, and he's just like, "So do you use the N word?" She's like, "Yeah, I do." And he's like, "Oh, so what you're saying is you're an admitted racist, a rabid admitted racist, and you see no problem with that?" She's like, "Well, if that's what you want to call me, like, I guess I am, right?" Her approach was not even denying or fighting this person, because it's an interesting strategy, right? It's a losing battle in a sense. If you're trying to prove to someone you're not a racist, you just make it worse. You're like, this guy sounds like a racist. So she kind of took the power out of it in a sense. She said, "Yeah, well, sure, call me a racist, da-da-da. I use the word. I don't, blah, blah, blah." And Piers Morgan invites her to say it then. Say it then. Say the word. And you got in the center, I forget his name, but I've seen him over the years commenting on politics, showing up on the mainstream media, CNNs, MSNBCs, whatever. Always with some crusade. Race hustling, like a really lowbrow race hustling crusade. Defending black immorality in the name of anti-racism.
The N word. Go on.
No. Don't invite. No. I don't want you to invite this woman to say a racially harmful term in front of me because I'm the only on here. So if she says it, I'm the victim of it. So please don't invite her for ratings.
Did he just say it there? I'm the only N-word here? But so don't say it, I'm a victim of it?
So please don't invite her for ratings to call me the N-word, because that's basically what it's going to be. There's a bunch of white people up here, and one Uncle Tom on the left here, and asking her to say the N-word while I'm here is ridiculous. You would not sit here with a Jewish person and say, please use a Jewish slur in front of this Jewish. It's ridiculous. I understand you don't have any bad intent, Piers. I understand what you're trying to do, but we already know she's racist, and I don't want to invite a racial harm to me.
I hear you.
I hear you. That is a terrible response. Nobody should respond to that like that. And it's like an explanation of why the nations I grew up in are declining, because in the face of what is a irrational outburst, you rationalize it and justify it. Like a true racial harm could even happen to someone who's literally I have to assume, just used the word itself. And you got to understand that he has to react like this. This is another one of those This is another one of those, what do you call, game-winning scenarios. This is a, what do you call, this is a victory condition for this individual. He cannot let this go. This will be a hill to die on, because for his side and his ideology, the word has to have power. It has to hurt. It has to have power. But how can a word have power like that? How can a word hurt someone? You have to pretend. You basically have to pretend. So you have to chimp out. You have to crash out. You have to crash out is what I meant. You got to crash out, and you got to feed the beast. You have to feed the alchemical reaction that is the N-word, or else the word loses its power and your group loses its influence and money. So you understand, this is a victory condition. He cannot allow that word to be, even if the word gets uttered. That's not even the problem here. It can be uttered. In fact, it would be better if she went and said it anyways. But he has to react like that. He must make it seem like it truly is an emotional distress. Easiest thing to lie about, by the way. Or else the whole word, the whole anti-racist apparatus falls apart. We're talking about literal money, scaffolding this whole thing. We're talking about people's livelihoods. There's money behind this. There's companies and businesses and industries that are aloft this scaffolding, but the scaffolding is simply people lying about their emotional distress. It's simply this guy saying, you can't say that because it'll hurt me. And upon that foundation is like money, cars, stuff, economy. on this like dark magic alchemical reaction that he has to feed with this emotional outburst. But it's all fugazi. It's all right, not on the elemental scale. He's just feeding a dark magic reaction.
Because that's basically what it's going to be. There's a bunch of white people up here. You and one Uncle Tom on the left here, and asking her to say the N-word while I'm here is ridiculous. You would not sit here with a Jewish person and say
he does not care about that. He doesn't care about that. He's got to keep it going. Okay. So, power in words, false power in words, it only exists in our minds. And I guess the Chinese government too. That is guns and stuff. So, but even at the facing the barrel of the gun, you can overcome the power of words. What did his sign say? Hake asks. Allegedly, reportedly, Myron, that was Myron Gaines, by the way. Myron had a little gun, a little like Joker, like, how the Joker might have a gun, and when he pulls the trigger, a little flag will come out as opposed to a projectile. And it was a little flag that said the N-word, basically. Hard R, Hake. What a mess. What a mess. Last thing here, keeping it thematic, then we're going to move on. People are sharing this video as like a victory. They're saying, white kid not intimidated by black guy threatening him on a public bus. They're saying this is a victory. They're saying, right on. The tides are changing. The Overton window is switching. It's being broken. And white kids, white 16-year-old white kids are not being intimidated by black guys on public transportation. It's time to take America back, right? This caption on this video, someone find this man for me, pressing me while I was 16 in the public bus for no reason.
You're right, I am a grown-ass man. You're right about that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna press charges if you touch me. The fuck?
You think I care about that?
You will when you in jail. I don't care.
Crip, so shut the fuck
I don't
up.
care.
You know what a crip is, don't you?
Yes, I don't
You know what a crip is, right, boy?
care.
All right, then.
I don't care.
So you know if you get off that bus, your ass is dead, nigga.
You hopped on the bus acting
Shut the fuck.
tricky
You heard
for
what I said.
I don't.
You hopped on the bus acting tricky for what? That's some new lingo, I gotta say. He's got a hat on. He's closer to blackness than probably the people sharing this might think. White kid not intimidated by black. He's maybe a little bit more black than you think, culturally speaking.
I'm a crip. I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care. Fuck.
Apologies on the swearing.
I got this. She can put her opinion all she want. Shush.
Oh, she won. So, he talks a little black. I don't know what happened. What started this off here? And I guess you could say they're saying this is a brave young man. Look at him, brave. Look at him. The man, but this is the man in question who's alleging that is threatening him. I mean, you heard him on the video say, you get off that bus, your A is dead. I'm a Crip, he says. Is this man capping? Is this individual, as they say, is the black man in this video in question, as they say, capping? Maybe. Maybe he's just simply capping, meaning posturing, making up a story, trying to intimidate this young fella. But if I may, I know it's like, oh, we're getting excited. Oh, white people not going to be intimidated anymore. Not taking it no mo. Can I say something? Can I poop the party? Can I poop the party? This fella's an idiot. This young fella, and maybe he grew up, maybe he's a little blacker than we think, and maybe he knows what he's doing. Don't let me, understand. When you grow up in different communities and all that, it's just a different deal, yo. But if I may, he's an idiot. He's got his back turned. He's got his back turned to this guy who's right. Look, he's not even looking at him. Look how close he is to him. Look how close his heart is. Look how close his heart area is to this man's hands. And you don't know if he has a knife. You know what I'm saying? And this is not a track meet. This is the public bus. I'm just saying this kid's an idiot. Okay? You don't need to get angry. You don't need to get angry to fight the blacks and fight racism and fight whatever's going on in the country. You don't need to get angry. I saw this video of it was some migrant getting beat up, and it was like caption was like, "Nice, get those migrants" or something like that. And I'm like, wait, hold up. Isn't that cowardly behavior? Isn't the actual brand? I understand what I'm saying here. I understand that it's been a difficult thing, but the actual brave men, the actual courageous thing to do would be just to kick them all out. Kick them all out of the country. Kick them all out. You don't speak English, you don't kick them all out. Not beat them up in the streets because you're mad. And not get mad because you're getting pressed. Oh, you're pressing me. You might. Are you familiar with the name Austin Metcalf, sir? What are you trying to do? Reasoning and blah, blah, blah. What are you doing? Fighting. What are you doing? You're an idiot. Turning your back on him, you could die. He could kill you. You could be murdered. So, just saying. So anyways. That is hilarious. Ivana, what the? Anyways, folks, damn, look at the time already. Amazing. Time flying by here. Make sure you like and subscribe. We're gonna do things a little bit different tomorrow. Friday streaming. We've been getting experimental. So make sure you tune in and you are followed and all that. We'll be doing that after the Fallen State. Amazing. Yeah, Fallen State episode tomorrow. You don't want to miss it. So I'll be on after the Fallen State, which will be after the Hake Report. So you know how it goes down. Make sure you're subscribed and you click the notification bell. You never know what we do on the weekends, on Fridays and all that stuff. You want to be subscribed. You want to be doing the things. Okay? You want to be sure you're following and all that. But tomorrow, pretty much same time. We'll see what we get. We'll see what we get up to. Huh? But for now, let's do Derek out of Nashville. Thank you for your call, Derek. You're on the air.
Well, Nick, thanks for all of your help lately. I'm glad I didn't get the dog because after I saw that beaver video, I'm definitely getting a pet beaver now.
Yeah.
And you can't talk me out of it.
I'm down with beavers. I mean with the animal, like the beaver, the dam building animal. But
no double entendre.
None,
of course.
But
it'll do the laundry. Just stick it right in there for you.
Right. It's an interesting animal.
Well, I dipped in earlier and I saw the gals in front of the Vatican with the pink smoke.
Yep.
And I rolled my eyes and I appreciate everything you said yesterday. And I realized that in that moment, I'm like, I am judging them right now with my, what is it Jesse says? Don't judge with your gestures, thoughts, or your words, or something like that. And
yeah,
and I go, my question is, I wonder, is this a false equivalency? My judging them in that moment, and I caught it. I go, there's no love in this. Like they can't help themselves. Is that the same thing as me judging myself for, what we discussed yesterday? Is that the same thing or different?
I'm not sure, honestly. I mean, what you're describing is, I think, something normal, especially when you're doing this, what we're doing here, working on yourself a bit, almost constant. Some might even on the outside might call it insane, but what you're doing is you're working through the insanity. Yeah, we are insane, and you're working through that insanity. And in that, it's like, okay, you see something, you're like, well, that's crazy. Look at this evil woman. But then you heard about thoughts and you heard about judgment. You're like, wait, let me have even some space with the thought I just had about this woman. And it might seem a little insane, but that's what you're doing. You're working through this insanity. So I don't know if I'd follow you for that, or I really wouldn't make it a big deal at all. I just kind of watch those thoughts and just keep paying attention, because that's something I do. I'm like constantly seeing judgment. I'm constantly seeing where I'm much more alike to people I may judge or have thoughts about.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't make that a big thing. Right? I'm still gonna sit here, do my show, and talk about those women in the pink smoke and call them crazy.
Oh,
and I'm gonna have the thought that said to me, hey, their craziness is a little bit more like yours. But I'm gonna let that pass too.
But you're making conversation here and it helps to get one to think about things. And it also made me wonder, before I started doing any of this work, I would have just gotten totally lost in everything all the time. And it seems like I have more thoughts now, but I don't think that's the case. It's just that I'm seeing them now, and I was just checked out like all the time for years and years. And I go, oh, maybe that's it. And then I don't know, if Bond gives out an award for getting stuck in your head, I'm going to get it by the end of the year.
It's everybody, man. But that's it. That's everybody, by the way. But that's what I'd call that. It's just kind of it's just an attempt to have this awareness. That's all I would call that, without it derailing you, right? It's like, okay, well, these women look crazy, but I'm crazy. Like, no, these women look crazy, but I'm crazy, and then drop both those concepts, right? Drop it all.
Yeah, and really the one thing that you've said that really helped is what if it's just that forever, just seeing that all the time. And I forget that when I get kind of totally lost in my head. But I just thought that was interesting. I caught the gesture. My eyeballs rolled so far in the back of my head, and I go, who are you to judge anybody, Terry?
That is funny. I do find myself gesturing with my face, and I remember Jesse mentioning that, and it does make me think. It does make me think a little bit.
But at any rate, thanks for all your help. I appreciate you guys.
Always, man. Call me again, Derek.
See you, man.
888-775-3773. And if you're looking for help, look, Jesse offers counseling. Like, I'm learning about life. People call me, and I might have interesting insights and all that, but Jesse, he offers like full-on counseling. He has a deep experience for many years with people. So if you're looking for help, you really got to reach out to Jesse, rebuildingtheman.com, and he has counseling and all that. He has a deep experience, and it's an experience that I'm getting too. Like, I'm getting this education, like all of you guys are, watching the shows, watching the people, and hearing people out. It's an amazing thing to learn. So, I'll give you my thoughts and insights as best as I can, all that. But really understand, folks, Jesse has a deep experience with this counseling. And the counselor is Jesse, 888 rebuildingtheman.com, 888-775-3773 if you want to call me right now. But let's keep it moving here. I got one last thing here for you. Let's see here. I got one more thing here for you, I think, because you're familiar with Shiloh Hendricks. She said the N-word. They gave her hundreds of thousands of dollars in Trump's America. Shout out. And I was just thinking a bit about the person who was filming, okay? It came out. It seems confirmed by some news publications. It was a local one here, WTK something, that the person filming this. Now, I'm going to say still alleged, but it was a news article. It was like a legit local news article saying that the person filming that was filming this incident with Shiloh Hendricks and all that, the one saying, you called that boy the N-good word? He doesn't say N-gur. Did you call that boy the N-good word? Say it again. Is allegedly, right, being confirmed as Sharmak Bail Omar. Okay, and they're saying he's a Somalian. And they're learning a bit about him. You've heard about this. He was accused of a heinous crime involving a minor. And it was dismissed. And I don't know the details exactly, but he even came out on social media saying, hey, you guys shouldn't be judging me on that. That case was dismissed.
News to everybody. If investigations are happening on a serious crime, which I was being accused of, was in the past.
Right? He says, I was being accused of this. Now, the details, I don't know. But I was thinking a bit about Minnesota. Minnesota. Interesting little state. Remember Minneapolis, the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey? This was a couple of years ago now. I wonder what Minneapolis is like in some areas. Because this was a couple of years ago now, where he made it, basically approved the call to prayer, the Muslim call to prayer. You know how they do that over there? In those countries, they have all these mosques and buildings blare out multiple times a day, a call to prayer, and you just kind of have to listen to it.
This is a momentous occasion for inclusion and freedom of religion in Minneapolis. With the stroke of...
He sounds like Justin Trudeau when you think about it. Like just no Franco, all Anglo Justin Trudeau.
This pen, we and our Muslim community will have the ability to hear the call to prayer in Adhan 5 times a day. But importantly, this is not just about our Muslim community. This is about all of us that have some form of faith or religion.
No, it's not overseas. This was some years ago, Liesel in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
The church bells to the blow of the shofar to Adhan and the call to prayer. This is about inclusion, peace, and freedom of religion.
So that happened, right? And that was its own thing, and I'm sure a mess, and that's something I'd see in my America. But I was just thinking about, right, that's Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I forget where the Shiloh Hendricks thing was, but there's this like large Muslim immigration contingency going into Minneapolis. Minnesota becoming... Ilhan Omar comes from Minnesota, no? Let me get that right. Ilhan Omar is a United States representative serving Minnesota's 5th congressional district. That's your Minnesota. That's your Minnesotan transformation happening. Okay, Ilhan Omar, etc. And it's a bit, there's a bit of a history on that. So at some point, intense immigration into the area they just started bringing them in. And changing large areas of Minneapolis and all that. And you got to consider Somalians. Like, what are Somalians doing in the area where Shiloh was? Somalians accused of these crimes with minors. Somalians who allegedly they don't even have children. This person who was filming at the park, defending the little autistic, the alleged autistic boy, is not seemingly not even the father. So what are you doing in that park? So huge changes to the areas and all that. And who is agreeing with this? It seems like not many. In what way is America benefiting from Somalian immigration? And what are they doing in such large numbers? You know, so much info is coming about the Somalians now lately, and it's turning out like it's unclear whether they're scammers or all autistic. And I'm not being ridiculous, bigoted. I'm not trying to be evil or particularly hateful. I'm literally talking about the facts. And the facts are massive Somali autism welfare scams have been revealed in Minnesota. Let me pull it up. You basically got people receiving all sorts of care and funding by claiming their children are autistic. Because Somali children are receiving disability and autism aid and help in rates that exceed almost seven times than the native population. So either they're all scammers or retarded. I mean, autistic. I'm sorry, I'm using old language. I'm learning YouTube. I'm being educated myself. I'm trying to be a better person myself because I definitely don't come at things from hate. I love all people. So definitely not trying to be hateful, but Somali autism moms call for more training. A 2009. This was another report, right? Minnesota Department of Health study found the proportion of 3 to 4 year old Somali kids receiving autism services was as much as 7 times higher than non-Somali children. More recent data show the disparity has only grown. Prevalence of autism is significantly higher among Somali 4-year-olds. These poor little autistic children. Now, are they all autistic or are they just, like, what is it? Like, Minnesota Autism and Developmental Disabilities Monitoring Network, which is funded by the CDC to research the number of children with autism, blah, blah, blah. And the rate is just way higher with these Somalians. They're not sending their best. They must have kept all the genius Somalians in Somalia because they're only sending the autistic ones. It's crazy. But yeah, more reports on that data. Anyways, I just want to say that for the thumbnail. We're doing it for the thumb. We're doing it for the thumbnail. Anyways, that's a bit of the mess. That's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, okay? Man, hope you've been enjoying today's show. Look at that. We got calls coming in, super chats. We got Ryan out of Florida in the last few minutes. How you doing, sir?
Hey, what's up, Nick? How are you?
All is well. Nice to hear from you. How's Florida treating you?
I'm actually on my way back right now. I just stopped by Bond and I missed you, but I wanted to call in and say hi.
Oh, nice. What's up, Ryan? Hey, appreciate it. Couldn't stay away,
of course,
huh?
Man.
What are you doing over there anyways, man? This is already the best. This is already the best state, the best weather, most beautiful state. Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. But it's like you might find opportunity. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's a bit of a lofty ideal.
You know
Enough
what? You
people
are
leave,
correct in that.
you get an opportunity for property or something. But
hey, that's not a bad idea, especially in this state. But man, there's too many fires and there's too much politics in the state.
fair enough.
But I'm only going there for about 6 months. I'll be back.
Nice. That humidity is a killer for me.
Yeah, no, trust me. I'm going to get ready for it. I'll be there all summer long with the humidity. But I wanted to comment on something you just mentioned. You are correct. Ilhan Omar, she actually married her brother to gain citizenship. It's sort of speculated, but a lot of people have kind of like proved it. But yeah, she gained her citizenship by marrying her blood brother.
I remember that claim going around, and I never reported on it, so I'm really not familiar. You're saying, appreciate you having a, what's it called, like a reasonable mind on it. You're saying it's speculative, but, largely been proven in your opinion.
There's people, though, that have sort of proved it.
I believe it, but I just haven't seen it myself. I remember not reporting on it, but I totally remember that going around. That she had married a family member, basically, a brother, basically, to get her citizenship, because people were basically saying that should be grounds to basically challenge her, everything from her citizenship to her seat in Congress, because it's on false premises.
Yep. And on top of it, you are totally correct. I was just in Minnesota last year. It's absolutely overwhelmed with Somalis.
What a mess, man. And they're all autistic. Yeah. What's going on? Their children are
autistic. I don't know if this is appropriate, but you're using the wrong word. The right word is retard.
Oh, but isn't that a outdated term that shouldn't be allowed anymore?
I don't know, man. Everything is censored, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think that might be against terms of service on YouTube. I forget the R word.
Oops.
Terrible things. No. I have to educate my callers
Not really.
here. No. I have to educate my callers here. So don't worry, YouTube. In respect here. But hey.
Well, anyway, I just wanted to call and say hi and keep up the good work, man. Good show.
Call me again, sir.
All right, later, buddy.
Hi, Minnesota. 1 minute. Oh, you're gone. He must have understood the assignment, because we're done. That show's over. I was gonna give him like a little 60 seconds there. Call me tomorrow, Jaime. What else can I say here? That's it, folks. Hope you enjoyed the show. I'll be back tomorrow for a Friday Tings. Don't miss it. Click the like, subscribe button, do your things. Leave a comment if you didn't like the show. Other than that, appreciate all my supporters, super chatters, and all that. We done squeezed every drop out of that show. See you tomorrow for more. But for now, take care. Bye. Oh, Lil Nick too. He's got to say bye. Bye.